All on. Always something that I'm missing. Yeah, so it's Monday. Monday again. Not a bad day. I mean, it's high 40s. Um, I wore a flannel shirt today. Sunny all day. It was a great day. Just very enjoyable day. And so we'll put out our copyright flag and let's see if we're live over there at YouTube, and we are. And for now, people, for all those who are listening at YouTube, for now, I cannot go in there and chat with you in YouTube because, as I stated before, I am just monitoring it under the old 12 Pine name that has been disconnected, deleted, so it will not allow me to go in there, and it will not allow me to make another account on that PC. That's why I can't chat there. That's why we have Mixler, and everything will be recorded on the show reels. If you notice to the left, towards the bottom, below the picture of the Pine Grove News, there is something called show reel items. If you missed this broadcast, you can always go back there and listen to them. But you can also go to my webpage, 12pine.com, and listen to the video there. It'll be on my website within, I'd say within the hour after we're done live. Then shortly after that, be out there on Facebook and on YouTube. And YouTube doesn't work, then it'll be on vmo.com and bitshute.com. That's BITSHUTE, I believe, .com. Everything is /12 Pine, even over on Brighton. But in any case, a lot of weather in the news. There's always weather in the news, right? And, I just want to say, blessings to everyone, because you're going to need them. You shouldn't be worried too much about them. And I don't know what to tell you. I mean, many times I asked a lot of things and didn't get them, either asked them the wrong way or it works. But I have faith. And, somewhere along the line, I'm going to have to get my production booth so that I'm not distracted from other noises around the neighborhood, in the house, people walking by doors, very distracting. In any case, we'll get to the weather, but remember, towards the end, I don't know how long this will take. It seems like it's not going to take long, but every time I say that, we still go the hour. So try to get it shorter for you, because I know that taking an hour long to listen to anything is quite a long time these days. So, but towards the end, I'm going to start. There's warnings that have been going out today. Of course, we're always getting warnings, right? Always getting these false dates, these doom and gloom date setters. Yeah, and I haven't had one of them, not one of them, come true. No, not one of them. So, well, let's go talk about the weather. Actually, weather around the world. A little bit of it tonight. Let's see. I wonder if I need that volume set. And I'm trying to work on another set-in for this, other than having you to watch the Mixler screen on live YouTube. I'm working on something else where we can get different screenshots and slideshows of the news and pictures and other stuff. But it takes me a long time to learn this stuff and implement it. I'm so busy right now. Do not want to take away my time from learning the word. That is the first thing that I take the time for. Everything else is secondary. And I hope it would be with you too. Life, in your life, my life, anyone's life will change when you make that decision to do that. Yeah, I mean, I used to, pick up the Bible a lot when I was younger. Read it a couple times here and there because I was so distraught, that I thought that there had to be answers in this book because everyone's talking about this book. Got to be answers. And there were, but a lot of times I didn't stick around long enough to hear the answers, get the answers. But I guess I had to get that wild man, for the most part, beat out of me. And it had to be so broken as to want to just, give up everything. Life wasn't worth living. It wasn't. Not when you trust in man or yourself to get these things done or start a business and, fail time after time. At least I did. One reason or another. I wasn't meant to have a business. That's what it all came down to. I've tried many of them. I even tried making those children's books in Walmart stores. I'd set up a little table, a little show there, and put kids' names in the stories of these books. Print it out on a laser printer, bind it all up, put it together right in front of everybody. Still have a lot of that, a lot of the papers and hardcovers of these books. I forget exactly what it was called, but in any case, let's get going. Sorry, I'll get off my little high horse, whatever. Footstool, step stool. So we'll start off at shiftplan.com. Don't normally start there for weather, right? Weather patterns going crazy. Nebraska Flooding has broken 17 records and farmers are being absolutely devastated. Before I started putting this production together, 45 minutes before he came on, talked to World Watchman over there in Northern California. And he just goes on about all the things, we got a good portion of, our food basket over there in California. In the, said that, that growing plain there, right below the Orville Dam that we were all worried about. When it broke, it would flood this place out. We supposedly get 60% of our fresh vegetables and so on from that place. And like normal, when I start talking, I just forget about things that I know anyway. Like the name of this place, California. We're just talking. There's this, with all this stuff that's going on in Nebraska and our mid states, our bread basket is there too. All the cows and other sources of meat, have drowned and or other things happen to them. And I know what's going on. I mean, we're trying to figure out, whether it's Planet 7X or Planet 9 or X or whatever it is, or man-made weather warfare type stuff, in order to change and put in danger our food basket, our food production, to the point where, okay, the government's going to step in, they're going to help us out, they'll take over the other industries of feeding America. And that's basically what the point is, right? You want this world government, you're going to have these Americans under the thumb of the government, relying on the government for just about everything. You all know, if you've been listening, you look back, Government is trying to take over everything. Can't let them. Not let them. Maybe it's too late. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Also, look at these floods. Everyone is being touched by these floods, and no, it's not funny at all. I'm only thinking about what happened. When we all heard it. Well, we have heard the story of the Great Flood. Some people say that there were two of them, but God doesn't lie. He put the rainbow in the sky as a reminder to us that he would not flood and kill everyone on the planet ever again. He would not kill us with a flood, all of humankind except for Noah. Again, the next time is supposed to be fire, right? Supposedly fire. We'll talk about that some other time, but everybody is being touched with these floods. Watch where you're living. Know where you are living. There's no sense on living on an island that is basically a volcano and that the volcano is still active. Why would you want to live there? I might just want to test my luck for, say, a week, go there in some, Pacific paradise, like Hawaii or something. I see how beautiful it is when I watch TV, when I watch Hawaii 5-0 Friday nights. Yeah, beautiful pictures of Hawaii. I mean, just gorgeous. He's sitting on top of another mountain, overlooking the valley and the ocean and the other mountains in the foreground. Oh, it's beautiful. But then you get volcanoes that erupt. You get tsunamis, warnings, and no, wouldn't want to live there. So, big talk today is Nebraska, but there are other places too. Okay, just have there are all around the world. We're going to go through a couple of them. Excuse me. That's what I get. Too many years of smoking, and you cough, and sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing it till other people mention it, and I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody, but I got to remember to cough away from the microphone. Yep. So one record-breaking disaster after another has been hitting America in recent months. Hope you realize that. At this moment, Nebraska is dealing with the worst flooding that it has ever experienced. How do we, heard that before, have we not? Records being broken all the time. 100-year floods, 100-year rain cycles. Rain that you normally get in a season being dropped in 24 hours. We've been hearing about that, I don't know, for 2 years now, maybe. It all started in Texas. I remember that. Yeah, 18 to 24 inches overnight in Texas. To me, that was the start of it, and then it just kept going. So I don't know. Where is all this moisture coming from? Anyways, so in the economic damage, of course, we're talking about that. The price of all these things, of all the beef and whatever else, staples, whatever's there, is just going to skyrocket like everything else. Just I don't know. I going through my head. There's just so many really not so good things coming down the pike. This is just a foreshadow of things that will be, according to what I've been listening to the past couple weeks. All these profiteers, prophecy watchers, and so on. All I've been hearing, tribulation or mid-tribulation or pre-trib or post-trib, Any case, I believe that we are so very close. Because if we're not going in or through this tribulation, according to some people that only the Jewish people are going to go through, or at least we need to watch the Jewish people to know when it begins. This tribulation, the 7-year tribulation. Now, either it's tribulation or it's the wrath of God. It can't be both, can it? I mean, tribulation, we're all living through that now. We all go through a lot of things. We all go through a lot of tribulation now. But it's not the wrath of God. I mean, the wrath of God is what Jesus was thinking about in the Garden of Gethsemane, or whatever you want to call that garden. You know, the cup, you know, that he was thinking about. He sweat so much that he bled. That's the wrath of God. And even Jesus knew what this wrath meant. 7 years of wrath of God? Really? I can see punishment, you know, tribulation, other things, but wrath, the only wrath that I know about right now, and I'm sticking to it, is the last day. The last day, when Jesus comes down on the white horse with 10,000 of his saints. I believe that that is the last day. It talks, I don't know if that's part of the last day, but the last day is the wrath of God. This is when, you know, the mountains are melted. This is the heat, the fire that we're talking about. That's the last day, because nobody can live through that. Jesus couldn't, so what makes you think you can live through the wrath of God? I just want to make that point. I mean, yeah, we still may not be here, or we still may go in this pre-trib thing. I'm not saying that we won't. But I'm telling you, this 7 year is tribulation. That's what they call it. It's not the wrath of God. That's only for that last battle in Armageddon. What do you call it? Ghetto. You know, when everyone is there. When Satan is there and his armies are all waiting there and they want to fight and try to kill God. What I believe all this CERN stuff is about, all these warping these dimensions and all that stuff is about. They're going to try to either stop time because they know their time is short, or they're going to try and kill God when he comes on that last day. It'll never work, because it says right in Revelations that within seconds, and probably not even that, probably within a blink of an eye, these armies, these people in that valley are gone. They're, you know, when it tells you about their eyes melted in their sockets and stuff like that, yeah, they don't, they're not fighting God. There's no way you can do that. I'm sorry, let's go on to the weather. That needed to be said. You know, we are going through times of sorrows right now and tribulation, because Jesus said when his disciples were here that we will go through tribulation, and even now go through it. So, God bless you too, Hen. Good to see you here again. All right, so let's go on to this other weather. Hopefully, right, Mark, get going. Let's see this other weather. From the watchers, severe floods hit England's Yorkshire, UK. Okay, more flooding, right, folks? I mean, we're doing this almost every day now, right? I mean, don't you think that the Lord is trying to tell us something? I think so. I don't know why anybody else can't see it. He's reminding us that he can destroy this earth, and he has with a flood. He wants you to be reminded of that and pay attention to what's going on around you. Okay? This flood, every place is getting, I think it's a reminder. He's reminding us what he can do, and it's a reminder of what the second time man is going to be destroyed. Is going to be destroyed by fire. That last day. I mean, that's when the earth is made brand new and all that as well. And of course, we still have to go through the, you know, the millennia and all that stuff. whoever is lucky enough to become, holy priests and princes along with Jesus, to rule and reign with him for that 1,000 years. Excuse me. So, you know, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, I don't think that I would ever be, how do you say it, worthy of that in any sense of the word. But I don't know, I don't know his mind yet. I know what he's done. So severe flooding hits Yorkshire, England, UK, March 16th, 17th. And parts of the region saw more than a half of their monthly rainfall average in just 24 hours. It's like a broken record, isn't it? 24 hours. 24 hours. Months worth of rain in 24 hours. Years worth of rain in 24 hours. I hear that so much. You got some, of course, I'll leave the links. You got video clips here of the flooding, like usual. I mean, who has not been touched by flooding in the past 2 years? I don't know too many that have not, in one sense or another, been touched by some type of flood or raging waters. Also from the watchers, what is going on here? At least 77 killed, 116 injured, as severe flash floods hit Papua, Indonesia. Okay, that's just the flash floods. Sometimes they can be pretty bad, pretty strong. That could take you in. So don't try and drive into these Russian waters. I mean, people just don't think. Maybe they panic, but that is the worst thing you could do. Not into Russian waters. And that also was on Sunday. The worst of the flooding took place in the town of Santina near the provincial capital Jayapura on Saturday evening. 51 people were killed in the town and 74 injured. About 4,150 people are taking shelter in 6 evacuation centers. We're not even talking about Nebraska yet. This one from the week. 1,000 feared dead after cyclone in Mozambique. Mozambique. I don't know how you pronounce that. Bique. Mozambique. I don't know. I've been told before that I can hack some of these things, these words. Most of the time I can get the ones in the Bible, if I pay attention. But these things, it just seems like the Southern, the Latin, I don't know what it is. Death toll already at 84 after a cyclone tore through the region over the weekend. But I just want to mention something. Sunday night, I watched something called Madam Secretary. Okay, I've been watching it ever since, Clinton and went through all her scandalous things with her being Madam Secretary. And it deals in real life situations. I mean, last night's was about a cyclone that came, and I forget exactly where it was. I think Uru was one of the islands. I mean, I think it was over there. The people looked, I think it was over there towards, India and Madagascar and places like that. Cyclones. And it was 2 months early. The season hadn't started yet. And same thing in the news. But this show, Madam Secretary, talked about that. Mentioned the words, bombogenesis, bomb cyclone. Same things that, people have been using for a little while now. And they talked about these things ramping up and becoming more ferocious and bigger and wider. And so, do they know something? I mean, a lot of these shows, they do. Hollywood does tell you things. I don't think anybody should be watching TV. I really don't. I shouldn't be, but I do watch some of these shows. Um, and I'm not going to use the excuse just to get that type of information. But no, I use it to whatever I use it for. I mean, I used to watch the darn thing, many, many, many hours a day. I was not working. Thank God that I am working. Thank him again for another reason while he put me back to work. So there was a couple islands of what I was trying to get to that disappeared. Okay, 100,000 people on one island. They didn't want to leave. They were the only ones that spoke a certain language. Nobody else spoke it, and they did not want to leave. And they lost a lot of people. Like I said, only 100,000 people there. But in the end, when this cyclone passed by, the island was no longer there. It was gone. I mean, this cyclone, the winds, the rain, and all that, just moved that island, or just, it was kind of like a tsunami against sand. And if you can picture that, a Russian wall of water against sand. Just picture a sand castle. What do you think would happen with that? Totally be obliterated. Yeah, kind of like Puerto Rico. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, and this stuff is just going to continue, man. These are just the signs of the times. These things are going to get worse. We talked about Matthew 24, the birth pains, and they'll just get worse and with more frequency. So, from the watchers, catastrophic flooding caused by rapid snowmelt and heavy rain, agricultural devastated in the U.S. This is the Midwest. The Midwest has been hit in the past couple of weeks by major, major storms. And you're talking about winds. I mean, this is a picture right here of ice. Remember that? I think it was Missouri or Michigan, one of those two states, where the wind just blew the ice and piled it up in piles. And it was kind of like a slow-moving lava flow, where it, got bigger and just boulders rolled in front of it and just pushed the wall right into, one of the main roads there. It's just you're in kind of an awe when these things happen. I'm always in awe when I go to the beach and look at the ocean and the waves and all these things. It just puts me where I should be. Small, very small. It's just amazing, what God has created, all around us and all above us and all below us, everywhere. So this rapid snow melt and heavy rains combine and to produce massive flooding across Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Wisconsin, and South Dakota. So historic to catastrophic flooding, inundated homes and businesses and devastated farmlands following a powerful late-season winter storm that swept through the country last week. Yes, remember, people, we have spring. My wife said this the other day. I said, no way, man. It's still winter. It's spring. Yeah, it's going to come in this week. I believe it's the 20th, is it not? 20th or 22nd, somewhere around there. It will be the first day of spring. Thank you, Lord, for making it a little bit warmer here. Getting my mind off the fact that both the snow blowers that I have broke down. And so I had to shovel the last 3 storms. And then the last storm, I pulled something in my shoulder and was out of work for 4 days. Yeah, and that's the last straw. I don't think I'm going to be able to do any more shoveling if we do have something this year. So my son came over and took one of the blowers and brought it off somewhere and see if it can be fixed for a reasonable price. So we will see. So here you see in these pictures from the watchers, there's also a video out by Dabu that I'm going to show too. A second here. It shows you the before and after of these flooding. That's flooding. You can see right there. I mean, it's obviously the after. And here's a little video clip here too. Let's watch this. This is all flooded. Not quick, but yeah, look at that, man. Just like a look at that thin little line, which is the river, and then look at all the. Yeah, I mean, just goes to show you how so small we are on this earth. I mean, so that sometimes it makes me really wonder, if us puny little human beings can actually really have any kind of major or lasting impression on this earth. Yeah, there's a lot of plastics in the ocean and wildlife dying, being tangled in them. I mean, all this chem spraying, yeah, that may, make a storm or break a storm, but does it change the earth and its ecosystem forever? I mean, does it? Maybe it can, maybe it can't. I just, people talk about these sun simulators. This thing, if you go look in the patent office, it's a real thing. It's a real idea. And I keep telling everyone, come on, people, wake up. Do you think that we, as a human race, can actually build anything? And you're going to need a lot of material to actually come between the sun and the earth, okay? Block the actual sun from coming here and changing it with this sun simulator. Do you think that we could actually, do we even have enough material on the whole planet to build a sun simulator to block the sun's rays, its heat, whatever? I don't think so. I think people are really thinking way too more of themselves in what they think they can do. Yes, technology we don't even know about, sure, but in any case, get a general idea of what I was thinking. Well, here's this one out by Dabu. And just going to listen to it long enough. See, river well through the range.
I want to take a look here real quick at some of the areas that have been heavily affected by this flooding. It is just jaw-dropping to see that some of these areas have been washed out the way that they are washed out. And I want people to realize that when you're looking at maps like this, I want you to think about low-lying areas around rivers like this, and if you yourself could potentially find yourself in a situation where floodwaters could inundate your home or your business.
Yeah, it's basically just saying, something we all should think about. Like I said in the beginning, yeah, don't go, permanently go move on an island that's actually a volcano and expect not to have lava. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to live by a river, and that's where most people, in ancient times lived, because water was,
now, oftentimes,
was the life force, was how we lived. We got a lot of our food and other things from rivers and such. But you have to be aware of your surroundings, the conditions. I mean, watching for clouds and, even when you go camping, you got to make sure that you're camping in the right spot. I've seen many people drown in camping sites because they go and pitch their tent in a little low area in a valley in between these hills or mountains, and you get a good storm and you'll drown or you'll be swimming out. So with that, I'll leave that link for you. We'll get on to some other little news. Got a little warning for you towards the end, and it's not really not something that you haven't already been warned about it, but it's been talked about the increase in the warnings. Probably something we should be paying attention to. But this is from End Time Headlines. California school conceals drag queen makeup day, okay, leaving parents bewildered. Man, I would be angry about this. So the students said they went to an LGBT fair for which parents had not been notified nor given the option for their child to attend or opt out. Family Research Council, FRC, reports that there were even people dressed in drag and given makeup lessons to the 11-year-olds in the school building. Parents jam-packed the next school board meeting, filling even the overflow rooms, holding signs that read, "No sex ed." Yeah, they don't have my permission either if my kids are in school. That's you. That is up to the parents to teach their children that. So moms and dads defended off the ACLU attorneys who'd been farmed out across the state to handle complaints. Later, parents were even more furious to find out that the 4 of the 5 people who testified in favor of the curriculum didn't even live in their district. Of course not. Ship them all in. In one of the most heated exchanges during the meeting, a mother sees that so many of the left are trying to marginalize California's multi-ethnic communities. How can a state that claims to be so much for the rights of immigrants and minorities then ignore our concerns on purpose? They're hypocrites. They're hypocrites, and they would also be facing lawsuits. And I can guarantee you that that's happening as well, because that was something I would do as well. There's no way that my children should be subjected to this kind of, whatever you call it, leftist. I mean, I don't even know, really. What's a leftist? What's a rightist? Who's in the middle? What is the middle? Is the middle our moral integrity as Christians, or someone else's moral integrity, which isn't a Christian's moral integrity? You see what I'm saying? So who's left? Who's right? Who's conservative? Depends on the morals of the society at the time, right? And it's pretty messed up. Left, right, far left, far right. Oh man, trying to keep up with that stuff. Another reason I hate politics. U.S. warship quarantined for 2 months after rare virus outbreak infects the crew. Go figure. Does this sound like a movie too? What's it called? I remember a show called The Last Ship. Remember that show? Of course, it wasn't the people on the ship that were infected. It was everyone else in the world. Something got released and it attacked the whole world, and this was The Last Ship. So the series went on for a couple of years. So the outbreak happened on the USS Fort McHenry, a Whidbey Island class dock landing ship that has more than 700 service members on board. The ship and crew were originally put into isolation after symptoms of keratitis appeared in December last year. Around 25 sailors who caught the virus, which has similar symptoms to mumps, were treated by onboard medics, and living areas were subjected to deep cleans. Port calls were then canceled when the ship spent the next 2 months quarantined in the Persian Gulf, while medical crews made sure the outbreak was fully under control. A statement from the Fifth Fleet said none of the cases are life-threatening and all have either already made or are expected to make full recovery. And it goes on, but it won't let me go read more. So Maybe it will under another venue. Also, from the end time headlines, deadly plague strikes Africa. Several dead. Well, this is not news. This is not new news. I mean, maybe a new plague. Maybe they're testing something new. I do believe that Africa is the petri dish of the world where everything is tested. Several dead. I mean, we still know. And they're calling it the Black Death. You know, you got the Black Plague. You got, what's that one? The Ebola, you know, that was there a couple years ago. Experimental drugs were used, and all this other testing was going on. And then they're letting people get on airliners and travel across the sea to other countries, breaking all kinds of protocols. And if there aren't none, there certainly should have been. But anyways, this Black Death has broken out in Africa, along the border of Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The DRC. Several people have been killed and dozens of others have been exposed to the virus. Black Death, otherwise known as the bubonic plague. Okay, well, that's still going on then. Ebola. Well, this is the bubonic, yes. Bubonic, sorry. Once scourged Europe, during the 14th century. Some 30 to 60% of the world's population is thought to have been killed by the vicious disease, which may have been transferred from China by fleas clinging to black rats. Yeah, pretty big. Besides the influenza, that wiped out quite a bit too. In any case, the widespread nature of the disease means that most people have been protected by ancient immunity, but new strains still arise sometimes in African countries. Yeah, I think that they try to actually make new strains. I mean, look at the flu. Every year, it just changes every year. That's why these flu shots are they're almost meaningless. I mean, I know the general idea is to give you very low doses of the flu so that you can build up an immunity. But if you're putting other things into these vaccines, if you're spraying the skies and chemically bombing our drinking water to reduce our immune efficiency, then these flus and other things will wreak havoc in our systems. Men are becoming fertile, women are miscarriaging, and other things going on. Then you got this story. I think I picked it up, but good possibly I didn't. That just one woman delivered 6 babies within, I think it was within 5 to 9 minutes. Thought I picked the story up, but I don't see it. Not see it. So in any case, let's go on. And I put this one out there only for those people because I know there are a few people, including myself, who are on blood pressure medication. Also from End Time Headlines is blood pressure medication cancer scare. 43 more lots are recalled. I mean, what are they doing, man? If you can get off your medicines, your big pharma things, stuff like that. Oh man, you must get off of them. They only want to make money. They do not want to fix you. Don't. That's why you have, they have this cure for the symptom that you have, but it also creates other problems. And then you go and get more medicine to fix those symptoms. And then next thing you know, you got these senior citizens who have, 5 to 15 bottles of meds in their cabinet, and they're dying because these things are just totally making them, zonkers. And they have no clue. Then this Alzheimer's and dementia sets in for a lot of us. A lot of us are feeling it early. I mean, these are the other things that this poisoning of America is doing to us. It's dumbing us down, or it's just eliminating the ability to do anything about it. Pay attention to these things. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. It's happening. It's out there in the open, and we still let them do it. I seen one article, I don't know, a couple of days ago. Yeah, he says, well, he's so tired of hearing about all these, chem spraying and all this other stuff going on. The government's admitting it now. That something about global warming and I don't know, kind of terraforming our atmosphere. But for what and who, they don't really tell you. And he's so frustrated that he threatened to actually start shooting those planes down himself. I mean, maybe someday that's what it will have to come to if they're not going to stop it. I mean, look at Mr. Trump and 5G. I mean, he's a businessman, so he sees the money involved in that, which is trillions. I mean, this is what other senators or Congress people have said, that it's a $1 trillion market, and that America is going to get in on the ground level, and nobody's going to stand in the way. And he warned anybody that would stand in the way that they would be sorry. Now we hear that China is supposedly also starting on this ground level. I mean, we were just talking a year ago about us starting this ground level 5G thing, and now the Chinese. So somebody is giving information to the Chinese. Somebody has servers or whatever, or accounts, emails, whether it be cryptic or whatever. But I've been hearing about this stuff for years. As soon as the United States comes out with some kind of invention or idea and that they're going to implement it, not more than a few months down the lane, our supposed enemies have also got that information, and they're going to get, they're going to be right alongside us. Anyways, so you know about the space shuttle program, right? That the U.S. military knew that the Chinese were being fed this information or had some kind of hacking going on about the schematics and how to build a space shuttle and so on and so forth. But the thing is that the U.S. military knew that this was going on, so they started feeding them other information in there as well. So by the time they got this space shuttle built and they tested it, a lot of this foam stuff that they heat shield that they put on there, it just burnt up for the Chinese. They never tried another shuttle program again. But how did they get the information? It's sometimes, this is why I say that I think that this whole thing, all these elites, these powers that be are all together. They're just creating these things to build tension, mainly tension in us, so that we're all worried and who knows what. But they've been orchestrating this stuff for years. Yeah. And they're going to continue to do it as long as we continue to be affected by it. Here we go. Illinois again. The House passes another bill requiring schools to teach the LGBTQ history. Why? What benefit would that be to students in any school? How would that benefit any of them? I mean, don't you teach things in school so that you can benefit from them or learn, to better yourself or your society or whatever? Illinois, weren't they the ones, or maybe that was Michigan, who are now passing a bill or trying to pass a bill that requires all adults to own AR-15s? Maybe that was just fake news, but I wouldn't doubt it because one of those states, Illinois or Michigan, I mean, they have a lot of Muslims there, people of the Islamic faith. They actually even had a town there that you would not want to go to. In any case, you can go look for that stuff on Google. It is out there. There's a story out there, some short documentary, because there was one person who was actually living in that Muslim society, and they were flying the red flag and Yankee Doodle all the way, man. And they were not welcome there. In our, a state that was not originally Muslim, who knows what it was, Indian or some kind of Indian tribe, I'm sure was populated by that. Also from the inside headlines, developing multiple injuries in a shooting on a tram, possible terrorist motive. Just heard a little about this. Dutch police were hunting down a suspect after a shooting today, on a tram that in the central Dutch city of Utrecht that left a dead body on the ground. Oh, I thought they were going to say boy, but it's just a body. Yeah, it's a dead body on the ground and multiple people injured. Authorities immediately raised the terror alert for the area to the maximum level and said they are considering the possibility of a terrorist motive in the attack. Dutch military police went on an extra alert at Dutch airports and at key buildings in the country as the Utrecht manhunt took place. Yeah, and also there was a warning that went out in New York City the other day as well over the weekend. Possible terror threat. Of course, you always are going to have a possible terror threat in New York. New York is kind of like America, but condensed into one city. You got the melting pot of the world in New York City, and it's scary. It is scary when you go there. Last time I went there under the flag of, I worked for a company that actually was picking up, what do they call that? Disaster relief. So we were there under disaster relief, cleaning up their roads from all the sand in the roads and other debris. And I was actually shot at. Thought I was being shot at with a gun, but come to find out it was just a paint gun. And they came pretty close to me twice. Hit somebody across the street a couple times. Yeah, I actually had two detectives sitting in a car. You could see them. They were at the end of the street, and I was 2 houses in, watching from where this was being shot at. And they went and found them later. But that was a weird experience. Going to New York to help New Yorkers get cleaned up, bring their place of living back to some kind of normality. So it wasn't really frightening. It was just a little bit bizarre for me. I don't normally get shot at. I don't know that anybody really does. But anyways, ongoing, I guess, this tram thing. We'll hear about maybe some more tomorrow. And this is a short clip of some of these levees that broke in, where is this, Montgomery County, Mills County, IA. Let's just listen to this for a minute.
This video, which is an overview of the levee failure from the Montgomery County Emergency Management Agency. This was taken on St. Patty's Day. Mills County, Iowa is the county where Pacific Junction is located, and Offutt Air Force Base is actually on the other side of the river. A lot of problems going on through here. And then there's, of course, Corning, Missouri, which is in Holt County, Missouri, northwest of St. Joseph along the Missouri River. So if you've ever driven down I-29, you have probably passed it before. And Highway Patrol actually had to do a rescue.
Yeah. And so, you will, in some of these articles, find that there are video clips of these, quite a few levees broke. I heard there was just basically from being old. So that's what we've been hearing, right? Anytime there's a flood, a hurricane, and big waves coming in, and not too many levees really do what they're supposed to do. In any case, I don't know what this is. FBI asked to investigate David Hogg's Harvard admission. Oh, I brought this out I know you probably already know about it. It has been on mainstream media. I mean, of all things to put out there, I mean, they did this. There's a lot of, people in high places, actresses, actors, people with a lot of money, actually going to these top universities, colleges, and buying their children's way into these schools. Instead of doing it, by hard work and other ways, the normal ways. This is a big scam that's breaking out, and it's a continuing story. I mean, there's a little bit of information. You've probably always seen it, like I said, but I can't remember these two actresses that were caught doing that, and they have contracts and voice recordings of them doing this, and a couple of them turned themselves in because of it. This just goes to show you where we are morally in this country. I mean, and it has a lot to do with money. Money seems to corrupt people. It does. Now, the more you have it, the more you're corrupt. It's just the way it's been working out. And so let's get to these last warnings, these last two videos. And that's basically what they are. One of them is put out by, let's see, we'll see that one first. This one is put out by Mary Greeley. I know there's a lot of people that know her. She's pretty well known. So the title of it is Putin's Scientists Predict a Mega U.S. Earthquake in 2 weeks. And this was posted March 6th, actually. When I got it now, and it said it was new. But if that's, 2 weeks, I mean, today's the 18th. We're talking 12 days. I mean, you're talking within a couple days now. You're talking sometime this week. This supposed big earthquake, which we all know that could possibly happen, okay, between the Cascadias and the San Andreas and all that stuff. But apparently, Putin's scientist, and he's I still think they're all together in the same boat, but he has come out many times threatening to tell the American people about UFOs and other things that are going on. And I don't know if he holds this back from his own people, but in any case, let's just listen to a couple words from the beginning. Let's see if I can, somewhere there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. This was shared with me by one of my followers on Twitter. You know who you are. Thank you very much. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the rare sea creatures that have been washing up on the shores of California and Brazil. Well, Putin scientists are predicting a mega U.S. earthquake within 2 weeks. In a new report prepared...
And there's a little picture that came by that talking about weird creatures. That wasn't a weird creature. That was a pilot whale or something like that that was washed up on shore on some island, or I guess somewhere, or maybe it wasn't an island. I don't know what it was, but it was washed up on shore in these high tides and ended up, being in the middle of bushes and other stuff. So that was a whale. It wasn't some, weird creature.
For Prime Minister Putin by the Institute of Physics of the Earth warned that America in the next 2 weeks is in danger of catastrophic proportions earthquake.
Haven't we heard that
focusing
before?
On the U.S., Mexico, Central and South America, and the region along the West Coast. of the new Madrid zone fault?
Well, second of all, the Madrid fault is not on the West Coast. The Madrid fault is the fault line that runs in the middle of the country, okay, from the Gulf up towards the Mississippi, I believe. That's the New Madrid fault, or the Madrid fault. The West Coast is something totally different. I mean, there you have the Cascades and the San Andreas, and we've been talking, even mainstream media came out 2 or 3 years ago saying that the Cascadia is any second, any day now. They warned us. And we're being warned quite a bit. And, of course, a lot of rumblings are going on in Yellowstone and so on and so forth. Everyone's waiting on that Cascadia. And yes, that could happen at any time. The only reason I put this out here is because maybe it would have been, coming from Putin scientists, that they might give us a little bit more. But so far, I mean, not gotten more. Not anything more than we haven't already known, really. Let's listen to like 3 minutes of this one. This is from World News 7 that I go to a little often to look at his news. And this is a 24 hours warning. The earthquake that is about to happen on the west U.S. coast. And this was put out yesterday. It would be might be much better if you were watching it. But I'm not going to, it's 37 minutes long, and I'm only going to play a minute or two of it and watch the rest.
I am the scientist in charge. I was the scientist in charge of Yellowstone Volcano Observatory.
Seen this movie.
I'm not sure what day it is, and I'm not precisely sure if the eruption is over. I'm trapped here in some kind of military installation in some godforsaken part of Colorado. We've got no food, and we've got no power, and the ashfall has contaminated the water supply. The air is so thick with it that we can barely breathe. These men that I'm with, they think if we stay put that we're going to be rescued. But I honest to God believe that if we just watch and wait, we're as good as dead.
I don't know if you remember that video. This is the one about Yellowstone going off.
Before it all happened, many visitors to Yellowstone were blissfully unaware that it was volcanic. After all, where was the cone-shaped volcano, like Mount St. Helens or Vesuvius? They didn't realize that they were actually standing on top of it, that beneath their feet was one of the largest volcanoes in the world. The truth is, we were only just beginning to understand the workings of the park ourselves. And Virgil, the virtual geophysical imaging laboratory, well, that was going to help us. Or at least, that's what our boss, Michael Eldridge, tried to persuade the press.
With it, we can input data from seismometers, GPS instruments, and video cameras strategically positioned around the park to produce a living, breathing 3D model of what's happening here at Yellowstone. Virgil can also help us to understand the park's beating heart. The vast reservoir of red-hot molten rock that lies just a few kilometers beneath where you're sitting now. The sleeping dragon that powers all of the geysers and hot springs.
Did you hear that? The sleeping dragon.
Mud spots and steam vents that draw people here in their millions every year.
Around the edges?
Yeah.
Very hot water. In fact, some scientists 3.5 billion years ago.
Dylan? Maggie Chin, KCVZ News, Salt Lake City.
Hello.
Hello. Your model is very impressive, sir.
Thank you, Miss Chin.
My question is, will it help?
Help what, Ms. Chen?
Well, in the last decade, we've seen more and more ground uplift at Yellowstone. 12 feet, I believe, is the conservative estimate.
Well, that estimate is not conservative.
Nonetheless, many of your colleagues in the scientific community believe that it's one of many signs that an eruption is coming.
I'm going to let Rick Lieberman, scientist in charge of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, deal with that one. Rick?
Thank you. This is a sequence of Yellowstone's geological behavior over the past 100 years. Okay, there we go. You see, what we have beneath our feet here at Yellowstone is a type of volcano, a type of hidden volcano, referred to as a restless caldera.
Well, anyways, I'm not going to subject you to another 32 minutes of that. You can go watch that yourself. I'll leave the link in there. I'm going to go watch it myself later. And but seeing this video is already over an hour long, I will leave that up to you. But yeah, we're getting these warnings again of something going to happen, you know, within a very, very short time. Of course, I've been waiting ever since, you know, I forget his name, over there on Fox News, Smith, I think his name was, who came out a couple years back, maybe 3 years back, on mainstream media and actually announced it. Never heard any affiliate or any other broadcasting network that would actually come out, and I don't know if it was a test to see what we would all do about this warning. Well, guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. What happened after, in the years to come and since, was fires and lightning storms and, you know, dew attacks and people having to run for their lives, or they were incinerated in the fires. And there's no material left, because right after the fires, I mean, you couldn't go in there and check for ashes and DNA and bones, because the rains came and the floods came and washed it all away. And if they didn't wash it away, then FEMA went in there and dug up about 3 to 8 feet of soil and took it away. Yes, they did. They took it away. Then they wanted to charge the residents who wanted to move back for that job that they didn't want to have done in the first place. And most of them could not afford it and build afterwards. And so that property is now U.S. government's. Into 2030, who knows? Anything's possible with them. So that's it, folks. That's it for now. I'll be back Wednesday unless something catastrophic happens and there's a need for some kind of emergency broadcast. So until then, you know, be courageous, be strong and courageous, and don't worry. You are not to fear. The Lord says, you know, all I can tell you is that if you have Jesus, then you have no fear. And if you have Jesus, you have all the hope in the world that no matter what happens to your body, instantly, within the blink of an eye, you will be in Jesus' arms, in paradise with him. That's it. So, you know, you can freak out that this meteorite is aiming right towards your head, but you know what? You're not even going to feel it touch you. No, because there's a shutoff, some kind of shutoff system or device. Remember, he said he would not give you more than you can handle? And I believe if there is something that may come, that may happen to you, that is more than you can handle, there is a shutoff. You will not feel it. You will be instantly in paradise. Right? That's what I believe. That's my hope. That's what keeps me going every day. Knowing that all those children, that I will see all those children. I will see them in heaven. Maybe I'll even see them be able to grow up, even though things will not be the same as here as in heaven. Of course not. But I know there's got to be children in heaven. I mean, that's one thing that makes a lot of us pretty happy to see children, to see the innocence of these children and they're playing and they don't know bigotry. They don't know hate. They don't know those things. They're not prejudiced at all. I've been around kids when they were within mixed colors together. They don't ask each other anything like that, or if they even do, if it is possible that one of them may ask, "Well, how come you're that color?" They're just very innocent about it, and it doesn't mean anything to them. I've watched that through my children. I just love children. They'll change your life too. God bless everyone, and we'll see you Wednesday. Peace out.